Dear chess.com viewers, welcome back to the video series about the Scotch game. I'm Grandmaster Alexander Delchev, and I would like to focus your attention to a couple of important discoveries which may change the established theoretical situation in the Scotch game. In my opinion, in the Mieses variation, white should certainly have a very concrete knowledge to pass successfully the opening stage. So I analyzed deeply some of the most principal black ways, and I found some very important novelties which now I'm going to share with you in this video. So after the move c4, e5, knight f3, e4, white takes knight c6, we know this is the start of the Mieses line, e5, queen e7, queen e2, knight d5, then c4, and now black most principal ways to play bishop a6, of course. There is a move knight b6, which is a safer line, but it should give white a somewhat better position after knight c3. And now black has a variety of choice. Queen e6 may be the best move. You saw from the video about the Mieses variation that g6 is an opening mistake. Should be punished by knight e4. The other move used by running bishop b7. Better to meet by bishop d2, long castle, and white should keep his opening advantage. And of course, the most principal line here after queen e6, queen e4 is bishop b4. We saw this variation from a instructive game between Fabiano Caruana and Etienne Bacrot, which Caruana won. And of course, there is a move d5, which gives the white the option to play take d6. Then let's say queen takes c4, exchanging the queens, knight e4, c take d6, and after bishop d2, I think white should keep a small advantage because of his better pieces and better pawn structure. This is not at all problematic lines, so let me focus your attention to the move bishop a6. White goes b3, and here, before I go in details in the black most principal move castle long in g6, consider the two best black replies. Let me shortly consider all other possibilities which are considerably weaker. So d6 is a very bad idea as after g3, and let's say d take e5, bishop g2. Black will soon have a great troubles on the long diagonal as after the knight goes somewhere, a c6 pawn will be hanging. We saw this is a start of an opening trap, and you know how to refute it. This is the move a3, and white is fine. And the move f6 is a little bit unpleasant. What will black do after bishop a3? As a queen e6, we have a c take d5, is dropping a piece, and queen e5 is not at all good because the same after exchanging the queens, white is winning the piece on d5. So now you see that black doesn't have a big choice, and let's consider the black may move a castle long, which is black most common reply at the top level. Although the queen side is not the safe place for the black king, black counts on his large developmental advantage. They want to attack the e5 pawn, and white should play very precisely. The first move is g3, keeping the f4 square, defending f4 square eventually if we want to play bishop b2. So now black goes g5, and it is exactly the line which was considered by Kasparov, analyzed it 25 years ago as the black most principal way. Black is going to play bishop to g7, then rook to e8. The idea of the move g5 is to cut the eventual support from the pawn on f4. We go bishop on b2, bishop g7, knight d2. We want to finish development. And now black goes knight b4. Of course, if rook e8, it's not so good because we castle. And now pawn e5 is untouchable again because after the mass exchange on e5, black is going to lose his knight. He take d5, and black is in the, again, the piece down. So remember, when the queen is exchanged, there is no any more pin, and white can take the knight on d5. But the most important move is knight b4. It's a very dangerous move. Black is threatening knight c2, 4, and also in some line knight d3 is also possible. And but what I see here, knight b4, there is no a good way back for the knight because all the squares are blocked. So this is the great danger later for black. White plays knight f3, and we arrive now at one of the key positions in this opening, and where my intuition was telling me that there must be something wrong with this knight on b4, but to find the refutation was not so easy. And I found a strong improvement over the top game Wroblewski-Karyakin played in Russia in 2010. Now Karyakin played rook e8. G4 is a bad move order as we play knight h4, and again exchanging on e5 is not a good idea because we take. And now after rook e8, white goes just simply king d2 and taking rook e5, leading after a3 to again with losing the knight on b4. So black should play very carefully, and the rook e8 is the only move now. Important idea, we play a3. Again, the knight is very problematic. Black is hoping after g4 to exchange for the knight on f3, but white goes knight h4, giving the pawn e5. Now black is taking e5, and we go castle long. A very dangerous situation now for black. If bishop b2, of course, we take with the queen, and the knight has no way back. So knight a2 check only move, king to c2, and queen f6. This was black idea. Now white takes, then rook take e5, and queen d2. In this situation, white is just threatening king b1, capturing the knight, so black should create some counter chances on the e file. Now king b1 is a mistake because there is a rook e2, and black is in the game. So here, Wroblewski played the move bishop d3, which after d5, Karyakin equalized. His idea is to play d4, and then to give support for the knight c3, and he managed to save the game. But here, a very logical novelty is the move knight g2. The idea is to activate the knight, putting the knight to f4, covering the e2, and only then white will consider various ideas like king b1 or rook a1 to capture the knight. Black best move is c5, knight f4, bishop to b7, bishop to d3. We should sacrifice exchange. But after bishop h1, rook h1, now black has black is exchange and the pawn up, but there is no defense against the maneuver rook b1, rook b2, and it's the question about the knight a2 is over. So I think this line gives white a very good chances for a win. Now we go back to the position after the move the other main line g6. So white is now playing the move f4 after g6. White goes f4. This is my idea. The idea is to go to protect the e5 pawn and to go queen f2. When we had this position before in the video about the opening traps, when we know that d6 is black best move, as the natural looking bishop g7 is leading to a problem after queen f2. Black goes knight f6 again. Knight b4 is not so good. We know knight f6. White goes bishop e2, and after knight e4, queen e3. Black has again many problems with this knight. If knight c5, then we have bishop a3. If knight d6 is the only move. When white goes castle, then knight f5, queen f2. Now castle short, and after bishop a3, d6, and knight c3. Black piece arrangement is not so successful. White will challenge again the knight from f5, and both black bishops are blocked, and white has some advantage. After d6, white goes now queen f2, attacking the knight on d5. Then again, black has the two options. Knight b6 is not the best, as the knight on b6 is slightly outside. So after knight b6, And I would like to show you one interesting game for this line. After queen e6, he played bishop e2, d take e5. White is sacrificing the pawn here, but as a long-term compensation in view of the dark square weaknesses, and black king is in the center after castle, king g7, and f take e5. White has a very strong attack later. They play knight c3, knight to e4, bishop g4, and they manage to win a very nice tile. So, of course, let's concentrate to the black best reply. This is knight f6, and now White goes bishop e2, and after d take e5, my novelty here in this position is instead of castle short, which was played in the top level, I offer the move bishop a3. The same idea, changing the dark square bishop gives White strong pressure, king f8. Now we go knight c3, hoping that if black takes now on f4 on this move, that we can play queen f4 and after king g7 to go castle long, and White has obvious compensation, followed by move bishop f3 rook e1 with a very strong initiative. But here black best is to play king g7, so now we should castle short. Now e take f4, queen f4, there goes rook e8, bishop f3, and let's say rook d8. We have one interesting opening position. White sacrifice the pawn, and they can try to have some more winning chances with the clever rook e1, offering the exchange of 2 rooks for the queen. And if black takes rook e1, and then queen e1, rook e1, and king f2, black should go back rook e7. And I think after bishop c6, White has a full chances to play for the win. They have better pieces, and black remains with the 2 weaker pawns on a7 and c7, and some problems again with the king on g7. And this was my 2 ideas which I showed you. Now let me underline what you learned from this video. Planning to include the Scotch game in your opening repertoire, then you should you want to beat some well-prepared opponents, you have to invest a certain amount of time analyzing black most principal continuation. Those are bishop c5, the classical Scotch, and knight f6, the Mieses line. And in this video, I shared with you my new ideas, which helps White to fight for an advantage even against black best play. I hope you enjoyed this series, and now I wish you good luck in your games. I'm sure you're fully prepared to include the Scotch in your opening repertoire.
Not really. I gotta watch them again a few times. Back in
Nope. I mean, it's all right. 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 I mean, it's all right.